upload my static files here. Oh, where we go? Right here. Okay, so my build folder, I just grab this, put it here, upload them, start uploading. It's done. So now the next thing I should do is I should make them all publicly available. Make public. Okay, that's done. Okay, so now I want to configure something here. Properties. So static website hosting enable that. So put index document index.html. So I think that's it. So I can just go here and then my website is hosted. So it's on the web now.
You removed the line from index.html, right?
That server thing, yeah.
Do we have to do that every time we deploy? Like, is there?
Well, you don't have to. We're just gonna it's gonna show some error in console. That's all. It still works.
Right.
Yeah.
But like, it seems unclean to.
Yeah, you're gonna set up another floor. You're gonna in your package.json you can just set up another production or deploy, and then
have another index.html file.
Yeah, and like another webpack config. Yeah, so it's up to you how clean you want it to get, but that's the flow to deploy.
So if I were to deploy this in an already existing application, like think of this as a web component.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to deploy it, do I just copy bundle JS and whatever the tag name is and put it in your server-side application that you already have?
So you're saying you have an application, you just wrote a component.
You have your own website that's like running. And you want to include this component.
Right. Then it's a little bit different. Your app here, when you render, you probably want to make sure you render to the correct div. Yeah, and then you package it, and then it's the same.
Include it.
Yeah, just include it. Yeah, include it
in your main application.
Yeah, and then just have it rendered to that div.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's that, and that's how you would deploy a client side. So you see, this is S3 bucket. It's just static. So it's client side app. So you guys should be all familiar with that. So there's no server. Everything's static. If you do a request, so HTTP request. So let's talk about client side app and a server side app. So what's disadvantage and advantages? So what's good about client side app?
So no browser reloading if you do it properly.
Okay, like when you go between routes.
A lot of the logic is built into the browser, so you have faster rendering of components.
Okay. Anything else?
That's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it.
Why we dedicate so much time to the front end, because clients are impatient.
Right. So you have like a logic layer, so all the interactivity is already there when you load it, so you don't have to go back to the server to request. What about disadvantages?
SEO.
SEO?
Too heavy.
Too heavy? Like an initial load?
Slower initial load.
Yes, slow initial load. Yeah. So what about server side? So what are some advantages?
Advantages?
Yeah.
SEO.
SEO, yeah, that's number one.
Also
persisting your data.
Yeah, persistent database.
And then you can serve differently to different devices or whatever. You have control over like what a certain device sees.
Exactly. Yeah.
You deploy in one location for all these things.
Yeah, universal across devices.
Yeah, that's true.
Make it like an API.
That's true. Yep. So when I'm making an application, I mean, when I make client-side application, I always want something that's only available in the server side, and vice versa. When I make a server-side application like a Rails, I always want some client-side features. So that's why nowadays people converge towards writing universal applications. Yeah.
The article you sent in the morning.
Right. The Netflix.
Okay.
So yeah. So what's universal? Universal is just you serve from the from the server side, and then once the page is served, the page loads the JavaScript and then try to reserve it again. But if it sees the same page, then just leave it alone. So that's universal rendering, and which is what we're gonna get into today. Okay. Any questions before we get into that? How many of you have written like Express applications before? One. Okay. So cool. So let's get started. How about that? From scratch. So.
Are you recording this?
What?
Are you recording this?
Yeah. So make say universal. Okay. So I'm gonna npm init, right? Alright, npm init. And what do I need? I need to install Express. So npm install Express -- save. Let me just pull it out. Oh, where is my desktop? It's right here. Okay. Copy this. Okay, so I have my package.json. I have Express, and let me just make an index.js. Okay. So let's just start a server. How do we start a server? It's Express equals require Express. How about that?
So we can't use the import thing here, right?
Right. There's no. I haven't set up Webpack yet. Yeah. So if I remember this right, this is how it goes. Oh. And what do I need? App.get. And I have a function. So there's no ES6 here. We don't have Webpack. We don't have Babel. So back to JavaScript land.
You need name one request.
Yeah.
You respond to it.
Request. So I'll just do response that saying hello or that. After listen, what 3001? This is my port. Did I make a mistake anywhere? I probably did. Let me see if this runs.
Sign along anything if you go to it.
Yeah. So. Okay, so I'm seeing hello world here. So that's the Express server. So Express server is just like Sinatra for Ruby. So it's very lightweight server. Any questions on this? No? Good?
Is this the same thing that's also the router?
Excuse me?
Express, this thing that you showed?
Yeah.
Is that the router also?
Yeah, it has a router. So when I do app.get, so that internally I'm using a router, the Express router. So I'm saying if we get this route, send hello world to the page.
Okay.
Okay? So how do I do console log here? Let me not do that. But I can set content type, right? It's equal to what? Let me copy some things over because apparently I don't have everything memorized. Where is my server? No, this is not it. The server's right here. Content types, right? That. Okay, and let me just function. So I have a log here.
So in an API type of express application, you have content type would be JSON?
Yeah, if you're doing API calls, then yep. Okay, so let me restart this.
Can we start every time?
Yeah, if you make a change.
Not just refresh the browser.
You can. Let me just try. So if I do, let me just refresh. So now if I pass HTML, refresh. So I guess you have to restart.
Really?
Yeah.
There's no
That's
No, but this is server. It doesn't need to.
well,
You probably need a package to listen to changes on the file.
yeah, you probably need that, but we are very light. So
Gotcha.
that's that. As Express server is nothing fancy. So you can send HTML strings. You can send span tag, or you can even send in a whole string. So I can do var HTML is equals to and use this. Well, actually, I lied. We can use ES6 because my node is a new version has ES6. So I can send it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So my node is that a new node can do that. So
Version 5, right?
send it I have a string here somewhere. Let me just copy that. Where's my string? Okay, right here. Oops. So
Yes.
okay, yeah. So I can just copy. I can just send this, right? So HTML. So let me restart it. Right here. So seeing kitten. All right. So yeah. So I can send in a whole HTML string and render that. And why is that important? Because it so happens that React comes with a method called not only render, but you can render to string. So if you are on a browser, you just render it onto a div. If you are on a server, you just render to string and have your server render your component.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Okay, see if I miss anything.
So can I see the view source on that? Like browser, is it going to be the same as the string that you have?
Yep. So
the server actually compiles it into HTML and sends it to the client?
right, because I set the content type is HTML. So yeah.
What if you don't set that? What will happen?
Well, it probably just comes as a long
A
string.
string.
Right. Let me just try it. What?
View source.
Magic. We probably don't need to set it. Probably it's automatic.
do as text instead of the source.
Yeah, not the spec element, source itself.
Where? Spec element.
No, just source, not the.
Oh, source? Where you want to go?
I think you could view source on the page itself.
Yeah,
View
Right
source?
click.
right click on the page.
Page? Oh,
Use source.
View source.
oh.
Yep, that's the same.
Yeah.
So what if you go to the back end? I'm just curious. You go to the node thing
It might automatically.
and you go content type just text.
Just text.
Yeah.
It'll be a big long string.
Yeah, I'm curious.
I think it defaults to HTML if you
So
don't
like
set
that. Like that?
Yeah, let's watch stuff break.
Okay.
No.
As you wish. Here.
Can you do the source?
Your source here?
Yeah, it'll be HTML.
Huh.
No, isn't that what you said, any HTML page anyway? You're supposed to put, you go to stuff at the top? You don't have to.
What was that?
By default, like all the languages assume that
Right.
your content type, but he explicitly said it as text.
I mean,
So it should come as a stream of text.
maybe there's something built into Express that sees that you have tags in there. They're like, oh, they mean HTML.
No, but sometimes you want to display that as a string. Not the.
Really? Why?
No, like Stack Overflow. You want this thing.
Oh, right.
Okay. So, what do we do next? So now I want to build my app, okay? Let me just make a folder. App folder, okay?
App meaning front end.
Yeah, app meaning a client. I can call it client, but I'll call it app. Then I want to have my component app.js, okay? Then I want to have, so let me just write my app. I want to write, like, you guys did the shopping cart, right? So let me just do pretty much the same here, except let me just copy this over, but let me get rid of all that.
Do you have Axios?
No, I don't need Axios right now. Okay, so I'm gonna have this props. So this is just like the shopping cart you guys did. I want to get my shopping carts on here. Okay. So this is my React component, and I still need a bunch of things. First of all, I probably need a Webpack at some point, so I'm gonna do a Webpack at the root folder, webpack.config.js. Okay. Then it's just the familiar config that we had, except right now I want to so this is the familiar part, right? We have the Webpack config, but now instead of just one configuration, we need two sets of configurations. And let me just copy this over. And this is my server side. So I'm compiling two sets of files, okay? So on the client side, I want to compile my component into a
App.client.js.
yeah, there you go, app.client.js. And on the server side, I want to compile into app.server.js.
Also the path resolved too, right?
Yep,
The entry?
the entry. Oh yeah, it's it's app. Wait,
Yeah.
app.
Server.
Oh wait, no, this is server. Yeah, you're right.
You gotta close the bracket too.
That's right. Okay, so I close it.
Inside app.
Oh,
you're gonna write the server.
Yeah,
JS.
yeah. So I don't have a client.js
Yeah.
and server.js just yet.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna write them. So I jump over here now. Here, then I need a client.js, and I need a server.js.
Look at this, building an app.
Yep. And what else do I need? I probably need a some function that gives me my HTMLs. So I want my base HTML.js. So what does this do? So I'm gonna export this. So the export function, and then calling this my base HTML ML, and then I want to give it a HTML argument and initial state. Okay. So what does this function do? This function does nothing but to return me a bunch of strings that's gonna give me my HTML markup. Okay, so I'll just copy that function over, do that.
Are those quotes like single quotes or backticks?
Backticks. So it's the ES6 multi-line string, and you escape them this way using a $ and a bracket. Yeah.
Whoa.
So in normal JavaScript, you have to use a bunch of plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was hideous.
So what does this do? So it returns this HTML string, right? But it gives me a div that I want to render my stuff into, and also gives me a script that I'm gonna put my initial state in there. Okay. So this script puts the global variable lower __ initial state and equals to whatever initial state we pass in here.
Where's the initial state global variable being defined?
It's right here. So window.initial.
Oh, well, you just
Yeah,
it right on.
because it's
Because it's JavaScript object.
Yeah, it's JavaScript, right? So we put an initial state variable in there. It'll make that equal to the initial state JSON string file. Okay, and then we're loading our compiled script right here. Okay.
That's like our bundle.js.
Yeah, it's our bundle.js. So that's the front end. So now just back up a bit, and then so we want our server to serve this, right? But we're gonna put the markup in the HTML, right here. So we're gonna put a markup in the argument, so it's gonna stick in here. So whatever we put in there, our server serves it, so our user sees it right away. But then when this loads, the page will find a script and load our client-side script, and the client-side script will try to re-render again. But being React, it sees the virtual DOM is all there, so it doesn't do a thing, so backs off. So this is the magic of React being able to do universal rendering because of the virtual DOM and the way it's rendering and re-rendering. So this is actually one of the most significant features for me when I was trying to switch to React, because yeah, I was big on a universal rendering thing. Okay, so that's my base HTML. And
So what? I didn't understand the universal, the last part. I don't know if you guys got that, but like the HTML thing that you pass in there, that is passed from the server.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it explicitly later on, but
That'll be a string or any kind of.
yeah, there will be another bunch of string, right? So this is just a skeleton.
Okay.
But I'm going to before I render, I'm just gonna pass in whatever that's in here. Because I want to depend on my route, I want to pass in different content, right? Yeah, so that's why I'm defining the skeleton first, and then depending on the route or whatever, I'm gonna pass in different HTML.
So
So that
basically, we're building a single state app. I mean, single app, page app.
a single page app in what sense?
Like everything will be inside the app.
Well, this is server-side app, so by definition, it's not a single page because if you go to different URL, yeah, you will see a different page. But just that I have the ability to pass in other HTMLs and I can stick it in here inside a skeleton. So
I guess I
yeah.
don't understand what the window.initialState is actually doing.
So this just tags global variable, this variable to my window, to my global.
And the initial state that you're passing in, where and when do you pass that?
Yeah,
Server sets it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Okay. So you call a
Right now.
function, you call that function base HTML. So
Right.
this is where we get our SEO because you're
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
rendering.
Right. So when Google requests my server, we are gonna throw all this string to Google, and they're gonna see my title tag, they're gonna see my meta tag, they're gonna see my data, initial data. They're gonna see all my strings, so they can index it.
Yeah.
So when people search it, they can serve it to them.
Instead of seeing an empty body.
Exactly. Instead of just seeing some JavaScript.
Mhm.
Okay, as opposed to client side. So next, where do we go? You guys want to see client first or server.js
Let's
first?
do server.
Do server, right?
Bubble it up.
Okay. So what do I need? I'm gonna import what? I'll try to import React. I'm not sure if I need it. But and import say React DOM from React DOM server, something like this. What else? So I'm going to import my app, right? So from app.js. Okay. Now what? Now I want to define a function. Export default function. What? Handle render. And what do I get here? I'm gonna get some initial data, right? Some data on the back end.
Can we do it in ES6?
ES6, I think you could, yeah.
Because you said that node comes default with ES6.
Yes.
This is client.
Well, you can do it. Sure. So export default is equals to.
Not
Like
that
that.
it's that much higher, but.
Right. So what do? I'm gonna have React DOM dot render to string. So I'm gonna have my app component here. Data. I'm gonna pass data in my props. Okay. So now I have all that in a string. So I'm just gonna say this is my HTML.
Just make sure render to string.
Mm-hmm.
Just make sure make sure it's render, not there's a T instead of an R.
Oh, okay, yeah. Good eye. And what else? What else do I need? Return the HTML, right?
Okay.
Okay.
See what's happening.
Wait. Let me. Probably I'll just do. I'll do it here. So I'll import. Say base. No. HTML. Wait. What did I define here? Base HTML. Base HTML from base HTML.js. So I will return base HTML And then here I define it taking two arguments. One is HTML, one is initial state. So I'm gonna stick HTML here and initial state here. Okay.
You seem unsure.
I mean, is there any questions?
Where's data coming from?
Data is coming from the backend. Whoever is calling this function is gonna feed me my data.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, maybe I'm missing something, but we'll fix it. But this is the gist of it. Okay, just render whatever this component is to string. Okay.
So this is going to be, is this a function that we call often?
This is a function we call when we want to render our page from the backend.
And we're only going to render it once, ideally, right? And then like the front end is going to have all the
Right. Right. When you go to that page, your backend is gonna serve you these HTML strings, and then your JavaScript will load, and everything JavaScript takes over from there.
Okay, so on the server side, it actually takes React, compiles it into HTML, and presents it to Google like that? Like
No, it takes a React component, and React actually renders that component to a string.
oh,
Yeah.
so it doesn't have to be in HTML as long as it's a string of words instead of
It's a string of HTML tags and words and data and whatever.
Okay.
You can serialize your JSON to a string, your array to a string. You can serialize your HTML to a string. And this is what it's doing here. React DOM renders the component to a string.
Got it.
So let's just go back to our base HTML here. So I'm calling this with HTML and initial state. HTML is getting stick in here. So if you look what I'm doing here, I'm just sticking my component serialized to a string. I stick it into my base HTML. So I'm sticking my component here between the divs.
Yeah.
Okay. So and then and I put initial data, which is gonna be serialized here, JSON serialized here. Okay.
Why do we care about the initial state as a global object?
Because we want to load our data from the backend. If we have something in the database, that's how we load our data to our components. So we want to put it somewhere. Yeah.
Doesn't all caps mean that it's like a constant and it should be unchanged?
Yeah, it's a constant. Yeah, it's initial data. Whatever you get from your backend, that's a constant.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one-time load.
Excuse me?
You're not actually
Yeah,
changing
You're
it.
not changing it for every page, or are you changing it for every page depending upon?
You can change it for every page. That's why I'm having this data defined here, right? So for example, in my index.html, if I define another route, that get another route, then I can serve it a different data in here, a different set of data. So that page is gonna serve a different set of initial data. Okay, so let me just so here, so I'll serve different data here for another route. Okay, so you can serve different data depending on your route. That's a whole bonus of server-side rendering, right? Yeah. So that's your server .js. So my client. Actually, we didn't use React, so I can safely delete it. Here, again, probably not use it. We don't use it, okay. But no, we'll use it. From React, and what do I need here?
You define your app in the client side? Do you need to define it
Yeah,
on
so
the server side?
It should be just export default app extends React.component, right?
No, that's in here. It's in default class app here. Here we want to render, now we are in the client, we're in the browser. We're not in the server anymore. So let me just go back to the Webpack config. Remember we wrote server.js? That is gonna be compiled into app.server.js, okay? And that will be served by the server. And the client.js is going to be compiled into app.client.js, and that is going to be loaded on the browser, on the front end.
So you're gonna set initial state too, right?
Yep.
Client
So
side.
yeah. So first of all, I'm gonna render that to my page, right? So React.render. Wait, no. It's actually render. It's actually React DOM. So it's render. Should render my app. I forgot to import it. So let me import it. From app.js. So then where am I rendering this into? I'm rendering into
ID app.
yeah. So whatever that document or whatever get element by ID app. Just make sure this is ID app. Okay. I render in here.
So that's weird to me because you're inserting the app component from the back end and also serving it from the front end.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying, right? We render this page twice. So from the back end, render the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So your user sees your page as soon as he requests from the server.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of getting a JavaScript and waiting for that JavaScript to resolve your page, you see the page right away. But when the JavaScript resolves here from this line, renders again. So here it's trying to render it again.
So it will actually re-render the page.
You
once
try
it's
to
rendered?
re-render for any other framework, Angular, whatever.
It re-render, but
Yeah.
here, because of the virtual DOM, it
Right.
doesn't even touch it.
Because of React, it doesn't.
Oh, yes, React will
You
go,
don't-
oh,
yeah.
Nothing changed. So
Nothing changed. You don't see a flicker. You don't lose your scroll position. You don't lose anything. Okay.
Magic.
So that's why it's so magical. Now I want my data, right? How do I get my data? Any
Gotta
guess?
call that function, right? Let's see what.
So where am I getting that data? Remember now we're in browser. We're in the client side.
That's in the initial, the global variable, right?
The window.
Window, the initial state, I think.
Yep. So it's I think that's it, right? Window. So that's where we get my data, and I'm putting my data into my app.
That's cool.
All right.
So that's setting the initial. Well, that's passing an initial state or the initial data.
Yeah, it's passing the initial data to my app. Okay. Any questions? So again, this is a server. So let me just retract everything again. So we have an app component trying to do whatever it's trying to do. Then we have a bunch of HTML string. So in the back end, we render this skeleton, and also we render the app component serialized to a string inside the div here, and also we put in an initial state in a global variable so that we can get it on the client side and then put it in an app.
So now you could create components, and they're compiled into that app component, or that they're all coming into that app component, and they're all being shared on server and client side.
Right. And this is maybe just one component, but this can be the parent of 1,000 components. If you think about it, right?
Yeah.
So there's nothing special here. This app may be small, but if this app is a parent of 1,000 components, it may be a whole application like Facebook, right?
And the server's still gonna render all of
Yeah,
that.
so all of that and squeeze it into right here, and then put all of your initial data right here.
And you got SEO.
There you go. Yeah,
It's really that simple for SEO?
yeah, just that. You get the string and you get SEO.
But you have to do this for every single page, right? If you have like a paged application, you have to do the server and client render for every single page.
No, if you set up, you have to set up your React router.
Okay.
We probably will not go into that. But if you set up your React router, you just need to change here a little bit according to the React router. Let me just pull it up. So React router.
React router works for SEO too?
For client side too.
Client side.
So server rendering. So what you do is instead of just doing this render to string, you actually put in this they call a match methods, and then you do render string here with the router context all coming from React router. So what this does is just trying to resolve your route on the back end. So if you hit different URLs, this method would match that to your client side route.
Does that mean that the browser's gonna be reloading with each route?
If you load different routes, for example, you send a different particular route in the email to your friend, and your friend clicks that URL, you hit the server, my server sees that route and resolves it through this function
Client side.
and
renders and
gets the client side correct route view.
Oh, it's
And
so
sends
it's
it back.
still talking to the server, but it's not reloading the page. It's like making an AJAX request.
No, it is reloading the page, but the content is rendered in the server, depending on the route, because they share the same route, the client and the server.
Right.
And then once it figures out, renders and pushes everything.
Ideally, you wouldn't really want that though, right?
Oh, you want that? Why not? Yeah, that's what a universal app does. I mean, it can resolve your route from the back end and the front end. Yeah, it's true. It makes your app twice as complicated, but
Yeah.
But doesn't it make it? I mean, I thought the whole point of having all of this complex JavaScript on the front end is so that you wouldn't have to talk to the server as much.
Right, but if by not talking to server, you lose a lot of stuff. You lose your ability to keep track of your data.
That's true.
Yeah, and you lose, lose a lot of stuff. And you cannot, if you don't talk to your backend, you have to serve all your data at once.
Yeah.
But by breaking into routes, I can load my landing page data when I hit that route. I can load my dashboard data when I hit another route.
Yep.
But if it's all front end, you have to give everything to them at once.
Okay.
And that's a lot of data. They can wait a long time.
So you need to use routes in order to talk to the backend in React, or
You have to,
that's the only way to talk to the backend?
if you use React Router, this is the only way to
Yeah,
set up the
sure.
backend with React Router.
But just with React Router, you can't do it any other way.
Any other way, if you want to sync your routes front end and back end correctly, this is pretty much the standard de facto way. Okay, but we probably will not get into there. But I'll encourage you to to go deep into it. Where were we?
How difficult are the routers? Is it like Redux level difficulty, or?
You mean the router?
Yeah.
It's not difficult. You just have to be very clear when you are in the back end or in the front end and how they're trying to resolve each other. Yeah. Well, they just add some layers of complexity. You can have this, and when you add on Redux, it's configured a little differently, and you add on router, it's configured a little differently, and you can add on Redux router. That's a marriage of Redux and router, and it's a little configured a little bit differently. But you just add it on. It's each step to the next is not very complex.
Okay.
But if you jump, from 0 to 10, then it may seem very daunting to you, but it's actually not. So let me just check if I missed anything. No, same. Oh, great. Did I miss it? Client side. Yep. Cool. Did I miss it? Document government ID. Oh, cool. Wow, that's amazing. Wait. React why I use React okay. Did I import this right? React server. I call this React server. React server. Well, it's the same anyway. Okay, so then we're ready to do something here. Okay, so I'm not using that. So I can call, let's see, I can call my render. What did I call that? Server. So I handle render. Handle render. Require build app.server.js. That's just assuming I have already compiled it. Okay. Well, let me just compile it. Okay. Oh well. Before I even do that, I need to set up my dependency correctly, because right now I have only Express, but I actually need the whole everything. Okay. So I need Babel, I need Webpack, I need Express, React, something I'm going to use later. So npm install. It's going to take a while. Okay, so npm install. What I want to compile. No modules, then Webpack. What? No module. Oh, Webpack. Okay. So again, to review, we compile in two sets of file, one from the client, the other from the server, and the output is app.client.js, and the other output is app.server.js. And we'll see that in my build folder, I have these two. So in my index, I'm going to load that app.server.js. So I can handle the render to string thing. But this handle render takes argument data, so I'm just gonna define a fake data for now. I'm gonna use my the product, the shopping cart, the data signature. So this is what?
Apples.
Apples. Okay.
Apple.
And then price, what, $20?
$20.
Yeah. And what else?
The golden apples, man.
Pretty much.
Better be a bushel.
It's organic.
Apples usually cost like $1. Thousands.
Oh, no, it's called Apple Watch. How about that?
Oh, Apple Watch. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Only $20 for that.
I still wouldn't buy it.
Ooh.
Nice.
That's right, you can't run rails on an Apple Watch.
And
That's fine.
Labeled
apples.
They seem like to go to the wild.
That's really funny. The way you said, yeah, it's really funny. It's just the title, Apples. It's an apple.
No, I'm just change it to Apple Watch. And I need
I like
ID.
apples.
I need ID. Just give a random.
Oh, look at that.
Okay. So
I see, and then you call handle render every time you want to, you pretty much do var HTML equals handle render in each one of these routes, right?
no, for only the root route.
Only the root route.
Yeah. So because this is when I get this route, I'm doing this.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see if it works. What's that?
You have two, you're doing ES6 and not ES6.
EX6. Okay, let me just change this back to.
Yeah, oh, that's weird.
Okay. Yeah. Let me try compile again. Does that work? Oh, it works.
Maybe it doesn't like ES6 on the
Probably.
server side.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't
okay.
think Node will take their functions.
What?
I don't think Node will take error functions.
Oh yeah. No, doesn't take it.
Node did.
Well, sometimes it does. Just try.
I haven't figured it out.
Let me try.
What it feels
Yeah, sometimes it does.
When in doubt, say it depends on the version.
Oh shit, we love you.
Let's see. Does it?
Oh, it does take it. Yeah. It takes it.
Yeah, that's it. But
Maybe Express.
Well,
well, yeah, I'll have to look deep into it, see what's wrong. But let me just debug this.
Smart asses in my class.
How did the error? Oh, so that error that popped up is actually an Express feature, right?
Which error? I
The
mean,
error that's actually rendering onto the view right
you
now.
mean right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what do you mean express feature?
That usually wouldn't happen without.
You mean this error?
Yeah, like usually you'd have to go into the console and see what's going on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true. But actually just put it there on both sides.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's the express function. That's true. Okay. So let me try to debug this quickly. See server function handle render. Wait, constant. Base HTML for page. Say not a function. Well, I saw that before.
Is the error on that page or like wherever you're including it?
No, it's just not important. This right.
Where? It's index.js.
Let me try this. Build. Maybe I need to do this. Let's see. So I'm just trying to use a static asset kind of thing. Oh, I need a path.
And can install,
It's not a function. Let me just see.
You wanna
Do you have to
maybe
run
restart the
Webpack to
server?
compile?
Yeah, I restart server. What?
Don't you have to run Webpack to compile?
Oh yeah. I have to run on compile. Sometimes I have to recompile. Sometimes recompile solves it. Well, no, I think it's over here. Let me just.
Doesn't like
I saw this area before. Let's see. Fetch down.
Tape. Some tape.
Render.
Can you bring her a package?
Supposed to give it to my girlfriend. She disappeared. So,
Function. Printer render. And render, right? Wait. And the render. See.
I'm so sorry.
Render.
So disappointed.
So the log. The render. Compile. Note. See if it's like, it's not important this way. Well, maybe. Built. Build. Yes, so that's have the server. Default guess I probably need to put in. Let me put in a Babel config, see if that's an issue. Compile here. Oops, it's not an issue.
someone's trying to get beer.
It's IPA.
Oh, I gotta get up into tea then, if that's the case.
I'm back so disappointed in tea.
Kicking Paul's ass and palm crossed off. Mission accomplished.
It's very delusional.
Well, let me switch over to
you trying to get a beer?
Yeah. Did you guys hear it? I tried, man.
We heard, it was a sound of disappointment.
Yeah.
I'm going to get tea.
Beer to tea, what a downgrade, right?
That was great.
Alright, there's no one connection anymore.
I am.
Taking a break.
No, I think it's gonna be awesome.
Unofficial break.
Might as well call it one time. Honestly, since I got here, when I got here, my eyes started being blurry and shimmering, and I was like, what's happened before? I was like, it's not serious. Then my hands started getting numb. So I'm like trying to type, I'm like, oh, my fingers are numb. Like, my whole hand goes numb. I'm like sitting here like,
Are you having a stroke?
Maybe.
I'm fine, I'm alive, guys. But I'm fine. But I'm just kind of not here right now.
Oh, you were like me yesterday.
My left eye's still a little blurry, but I can feel my fingers again, so that's a
My
plus.
eyes are blurry, but it's okay.
Like, I might have
It's
started
happened before.
drooling out of my mouth yesterday, like halfway through the class.
Our class was
Yesterday we weren't here.
Yeah, it was Monday.
Oh, whatever, Monday. You guys know what I mean.
Yeah, we've all said it.
So critical, guys.
It's like me most days though, that's the problem.
What do you expect, man? Group of coders.
Syntax error.
Part of personality.
Hey.
Well,
Did you record this?
no, well, I cheated. I go back to what I set up before, but I could not
Sorry, I
I could not catch that bug. But
You see
yeah,
how
I'll try to
I'm
catch.
going?
Yeah,
I never go home.
I'll try to catch it. And I'll let you know.
Closest to like going directly home.
But it was weird because yeah, I had an issue, but I solved it. But just when I import this line here, just somehow just couldn't get it. But
So what was the problem?
when I try to import this function from the server, sometimes it's just not getting it. Yeah, somehow.
Sometimes nose doesn't do the.
Yeah. Well,
I hope like that doesn't happen all the
yeah,
time.
I'll figure it out and I'll Slack you guys. But I solved it this afternoon, but
50%.
somehow it's just not sure how I did
We had
it.
nothing like this 100 years ago.
Oh, is there?
Well, the error was when I try to import this handle render from here. It returns empty object. So I was guessing it was probably the Webpack stuff. But anyway, I'll figure it out.
Try Browserify.
Browserify?
I don't know how to recognize it.
What?
Is it Browserify? Yeah, it is Browserify.
Isn't it browser?
Oh, I said browser.
That sounds like a dinosaur. Roserify.
Browserify.
Triceratops?
Bro.
Roserify?
Browserify.
Okay.
What is browser?
No, I
You
know.
should make your final project.
I used to call it browser
For it is there.
Galzify.
So, assuming your render function loads correctly, this is what you're gonna see on the page. Okay. So, let me just refresh. So again, the server serves that the string, HTML string, and then renders it. Then your JavaScript kicks in and then try to re-render it, but sees everything's there. So
Maybe you have that code from the first class we had, when we had that random 50% chance.
oh yeah.
I'm just trying to show off that I was paying attention.
Good.
Well, good for you.
So Shin,
Yeah.
if you decided like, I don't give a crap about performance, so I'm gonna do it all on the client side.
Mm-hmm.
So all we have to do now is to cancel, like comment out that server-side rendering stuff, right?
What do you mean?
Because the app component gets rendered on the server side as well as the client side right now.
Right.
So if you don't care about the server-side rendering, and I'm going to send everything to the browser and let the browser render
Right. If you don't care about the server side, then you don't even need to express server. You
Yeah,
just
so all it is comment out that like server side or whatever you're rendering, and then the client will automatically render and display the Apple Watch, right?
you mean in this particular app,
Uh-huh.
comment out the server side client side. What do you mean?
You have to do a different one. I configure.
You lost it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rakesh.
No, I mean if you don't care about server side render, you wouldn't even go this route at all. You just do
Yeah,
what
I'm
we did
saying,
before.
Like, if right now, if you want to modify this so that like it's just client side render,
Mm-hmm.
you render the HTML from the server and pass the data as the initial data.
Right,
and
right.
Let the client like build, load, and execute.
Right, exactly. So if you, then you would just pass the empty stuff
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
Then you
empty.
wouldn't even try to, try to stick it in. You just pass that this whole skeleton, and then and that the client side load. Okay. So I can even try. So that's that. That's server side rendering 101. Any more questions? Yeah, sorry about that bug. I'm gonna find the root cause. Yeah, I'm gonna find a root cause and let you guys know.
Put on Slack.
Just like last time I was stuck. I mean, this the Webpack config. I mean, I was missing this config file, and it stuck me for like 30 minutes. But that happens. All right. Yeah. Sometimes a bug can take you a whole day.
005.
And yeah. So what can you do? Can't do anything.
It really is though.
So I hard coded this. Did anybody take a break yet? You guys want to take a break?
Yes.
You all did already?
I'm gonna go to the night before I get some beer.
All right. Let me get some water.
Maybe if you go to different floors, then
That's what you just said.
Should.
React
That's
method
with you.
for rendering on
My
server.
blurred vision and numbness is gonna
What's
be
it called,
helped
the
by,
React server render?
the beer.
Not a person.
So here,
React DOM server.
I'm not.
yeah.
Okay, thanks.
In case you haven't.
I'm just reading about spring training.
Yeah.
It's one of those days.
it's, yeah, I knew like when I came to the class today that I'm not gonna be focused because I'm so tired.
No, literally no one's thinking.
I agree. One got a couple more weeks though, so.
I wish like we had like a week break for us to catch up on Redux.
I know.
And there's people that can come in the afternoon. So
I honestly, I have some semblance of it, but there's no way I could like dive in and start doing shit.
It's just after doing a whole day of work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it's like finding time on the weekend. Good luck.
Yeah.
Especially with 70-degree weather.
Yeah. Better luck than I have fucking 45 and snowy somehow.
Yep.
Yeah, when it's miserable out, it's
Yeah.
easy to sit down and code.
Yeah.
When it's 70 degrees out, you're like,
Taking the class now, there's no way to take it when it's sitting on.
Yeah.
Gotta get it done before summer gets here.
mhm.
No way. It's hard enough as it is.
It is. It's hard to practice what you're learning when you're.
I mean, just we all do it all day.
Yeah.
You're like, have to though. The ones are saying you gotta go like hours of this.
You gotta pay your dues.
When you find a project, just go crazy.
People are gonna stop looking for people with jQuery experience, and it's just gonna be React.
That's long gone, man.
It's like,
Yeah, really, let's hope that happens.
Long gone.
why? What's wrong with jQuery?
Oh, God. jQueezy.
It's not that bad.
That's our typo.
It has its purpose. It's just a tool. It's a scalpel.
It's useful, but it shouldn't be like
It's a
a.
butcher knife.
It shouldn't be built like you should build your entire front end with jQuery. That's
This is the
like,
problem.
You should be able to know it or like see it, but it shouldn't be a requirement for like
yeah.
look at what jQuery should be.
That's the worst. It's one thing to write it yourself, but in the real world, you have to look at like 80% of the time
Yeah.
looking at somebody else's
You inherit.
piece of shit spaghetti code in jQuery, and you're like, what are you trying to do?
Amateur hour. It's just accessible to everyone, that's why.
You just pray to God it's been namespace, so at least you're not having conflicts. Just pray.
Yeah, I'm sure like 5 years from now, people are gonna look at React and be like, how do they use React?
Or, stay with me, or we need to pay those guys $300,000 a year just for them to do React. I like my fantasy better.
I like you better start learning Angular 1.2.
Actually, that's gonna be big.
Because you're on the way.
That is gonna be big, I think.
Yeah, that'll definitely happen.
I'm not gonna be doing it, 'cause
It's just their way of promoting themselves, right? So like React is saying
in
like,
a way,
hey, Facebook, it's the cool company. We got this cool framework. And Google's like, hey, we got Angular. We're cool too. And they're just fighting over which
Twitter with Bootstrap, and yeah, of course.
It's their way of acquiring engineers to work with them. But we acquire it because it has a community.
But also there's a big momentum for React because it is fast because of that.
Yeah.
Any modern,
Virtual DOM thing.
yeah, but any modern JavaScript framework is going to utilize virtual DOM and be like very performant. But I think, would you rather, like it's a community thing, like what if you're stuck? At least there's a bunch of other people.
People are being vocal about it. I mean,
Yeah.
there's still plenty of Rails jobs you just don't hear like you heard.
Right.
It's not the ooh shiny anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a stable community.
I mean,
A stable senior citizen community.
there's plenty of people writing Java.
Let me tell you when I used to write
That's right.
Rails.
Like that's a massive thing still.
Actually, Google is pushing that because of the Android platform.
What, Angular?
No, I'm talking
and
about Java. Like
Java.
even Java, like with WebSphere, web services, like on Tomcat, like all
Google,
Java servers.
Google needs to do
It's massive for enterprise.
with Java what Apple did with Objective-C and Swift.
It's a little different because Apple owns web.
And Objective-C. That is
Objective-C.
Yeah.
That's
See,
That is
because they're a hardware company, they
Okay,
get right.
if you take away the ownership part, I'm talking about like the coding, the language itself.
They just took Objective-C and made it more scripty,
yeah.
right?
They said let's make this a little more literate.
Yeah, let's not make people want to jam their eyeballs in a pen.
And see if we can get some people who wouldn't write.
Look at this guy.
Guys, you saved the day.
Wow.
Apple juice. Ooh.
Oh, that's
It's a good thing you weren't holding the beer.
That's all for you, huh?
Yeah.
Actually gonna get up on stuff too.
Here, you can have it.
Wow.
I'll take the leftover and
Today's a lucky day.
If you like cider. If you don't, then.
How can you analyze lager?
Cider?
Is it cider?
It's cider.
That beer?
What's been coming?
It's alcoholic, but it's still.
This is the second disappointment of the day. This is worse than like alcohol.
You almost like put your mind in the so I was like,
Also,
I could finish
You
it all.
figured out that if you wait long enough, the TV will tell you what is on tap on every floor.
Really?
Yes.
That's really cool.
So that's cider.
Come on, you really want one.
It's got
That's what
sugar
you're
in it,
saying.
so that's
Cider.
It tastes
You know what?
like
All
apple
right,
juice.
get one.
You know how you wait to get it, I have to have it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Be ashamed.
You would
You guys want
offend
to be really
us.
classy? Drink it.
Teachers first.
Alright, thank you.
Nah, bro.
Don't worry, I'm joking.
You can do it.
Monocle style.
Fancy gentlemen.
Well,
I drink cider out of a glass. I'm so
sick of this shit.
Come on,
Cheers,
Rebecca.
buddy. Ready? Watch it. Watch it. Oh my.
Wait. Yeah, it's like, it's the sound of money being made.
Oh, you hear that? That's coins dropping.
Cider.
It's not bad.
It tastes like apple juice.
It's not. It tastes like champagne. Yeah.
Alright, now I feel bad. I'm ruining the class.
No, you're not. I was saying to class.
Yeah, we were all a little left lunch.
I bet you the code's gonna work now.
It already does.
See?
All right, so
Can we make sure we're recording?
yeah, we're recording. Cool, thanks. So now here, hard-coded the data, right? So what if we don't want to hard-code the data? Because who wants hard-coded data?
No one.
Yeah. So I make a fetch product function.
Yep.
I use Axiom. So it's just like a fetch.
Same thing as jQuery.
It's jQuery Ajax, except it's promise-based. So you have a len here. So I'm requesting this product, and when the response comes back, I stick it into my callback.
Then, like, as in,
All right.
is that using promises or callbacks, or is that the same thing?
It's using promise, so that's why there's a .len. Right, but stick to a callback though, so it's like a both. All right, so I'm just gonna import it here. Import my fetch product here, and I'm gonna use it. Okay, so I'll comment it here. This is how I'm gonna use it. Okay, so I fetch product. I call that function. Then this is my callback. When the result comes back, I'm going to stick it into my handle render, and then stick it into the response HTML into the response. Okay.
Oh, did you change that end? It was send before, right?
Oh yeah, you can do send or end. I mean, either way.
You're right, this is. Oh, comments.
Okay.
Oh,
Nice.
So yeah. So the way it works, so in the app.js, I just define like a list, and then put thing here like I did before. Okay, just like that. All right. So any questions? So there comes another advantage of universal JavaScript. You can request data from your backend, because before you request data in your component did mount, right?
Yeah.
So now so that means your user has to wait until your JavaScript loads, and then JavaScript renders, and then JavaScript mounts, and then JavaScript did mount, and then get that data, right? It's like a lot of waiting for our impatient users. So right now we can get that data straight in our backend and then serve that to the page, so they see that immediately. Okay. That's right. Questions? No? Good. Okay. So now we do merge stack, right? So MongoDB, Express, React, and is Node. Okay. So the last ingredient, the secret ingredient, would be MongoDB, right? So we want to import Mongoose. So we're using Mongoose. Mongoose is the MongoDB, for Express. And this piece is how you connect it up.
So that's all you need?
That's all you need to connect up your MongoDB. So this, you call the connect function, and you define DB. So this is, but before you need to install MongoDB in your computer though. So you need to do like a brew install MongoDB. If you haven't done that, you should do that.
What about authentication? When would you do that?
What?
Authentication?
Authentication. Yeah, I didn't set it up here. You can definitely set it up in a config file.
Okay, but it will be there.
Yeah. Well, it would be in the DB config. Yeah. So this you connect that to your MongoDB.
Is ReactJS 102, that's the name of the database?
That's the one I define. You can define whatever you want here. Yeah.
But that's the name of the database.
Yeah, that's the name of the database.
And the host is the host name that connects.
Yeah. So, but if you deploy this to Heroku, this would be like their URL. Yeah.
Host name.
Okay. And so what do we want here? So we have a database now. We can define a schema, right? So in here I have a server folder. Here I have a model. and I'm defining a schema for my model. So you have a database, you need a schema. Although MongoDB is said to be a schemaless, so it's a document type. It's not like SQL, right? So yeah, unlike SQL, this is just JSON. You don't have like a rows and columns. You don't need to, you don't need to rake it. So, but schema always comes in nicely. So you can pass this schema file to your fellow developers, and they know what's required, what's not required. For example, we can put a validation here, and you can say the product, the name of the product is required. If it's not there, you should refuse the data to be written, and then warn them this product title cannot be blank. Okay, so this is how you would define it. Mongoose, the model, and this is the collection name, and this is schema. So this is how you bootstrap it. And here I'm importing. So I'm gonna run that schema file. So I require that, and then I'm calling that product. So I have access to my database, the collection product now. Okay. So here, let me just write some. So let me comment this out and show how it's done. So, for example, if I wanna so you might wonder how do I write something to my database? Okay, let me just do it this way. Write to product. I just define this route. So it's request response. So I have a product. So I'm calling my product collection in my database. I do a create. So here I want to put a param. So product name. So I'm gonna create a product with request.params product name and price, say 10, and image, say let me just go grab a so just grab a kitten. Grab a place kitten here. Yeah, it's like all a placeholder kitten you can want. Okay. So this is a callback. So once the database has been successfully created, you have to let me just say send a response done. Okay. So if I do this and rerun my server, oops, failed to connect. Oops. Gotta comment this out. Okay, so it's connected. So here, and if I go to my route, what's that called? It's write to product. And I have my product name, say cute kitten. Okay, so it shows me done. So it means when I hit this route, I'm doing a saved database, and I should expect to see that. Well, if I connected my database, but I'm not connected, so I want to connect it here. Let me uncomment this. And then comment here, okay. So here I'm calling the collection product and use that find. Just like SQL, you have all that method in the database, and this empty query is it's empty, so you can find everything. If I have some query here, say product is Q kitten, then it's gonna find that record that has this query satisfied. But if it's empty, it's gonna find me everything. So the callback is the signatures, error, and the products. So when I find everything, I'm gonna stick it into my the handle render function, and I'm gonna send it back to the front end. Okay. Gotta rerun this. Okay. So there will be so this is what's showing in my database. If I do write to product again and do another say another kitten done. So then you'll see another one. It's been saved to the database. Yeah. Well, apparently this is not the standard way to write stuff to your database, but I'm just trying to show you in a simple way how you write to your database, how it's created, and how you call on it. Okay. Any questions on this? No? Okay. And what else do you want to see? I mean,
Do you have an app get and an app post?
yeah, you can do a post. So for example, say I want to create stuff in my database from the front end. How would I do that? So here I've already added input here. So it's down here, you guys can see. And then when I enter in this input and hit enter, it's gonna call this function, and this function is gonna post to my database. Okay, so it's post to this route at product post. Okay, and just hard code this stuff.
How would you pass in like a product name
Yeah.
instead of hard coding?
Instead of hard coding, it would be just the same thing that you should be familiar with. Right? Yeah, you just set in your in the state, you set a value, right? And then do empty string, and then when you input, you do unchange, right? So unchange is the handle input. So you should be very familiar with this. So handle input. So this would be the set state. Value is e.target.value. Okay, and once you do that, so instead of hard coding, you would just do what here? That's the value. Right. Okay. So yeah, so I'm posting to my backend. So I need to make sure I have a route there to service it. If not, then I'm gonna write it. So app.post was the route at product post function request response, and then what else? What do I do? Yeah, create, right? And what
Why
do
are you creating in a GET request though?
Well, I was just demonstrating when you hit this route. So this is the last one. When I hit this route, one record gets created. But that's not a standard way. You should never do that.
Oh,
Yeah. So, but this is a standard way.
okay.
So I'm creating product. This should be in request.body. Product. So whatever I send from the front end, this data, this post data, is going to come available to you in request.body. But to do that, there's a common mistake. Is you have to load the body parser, and then tell your app to use that body parser .json, so that data can come back in request body. If you don't have this, your request body is gonna be undefined. Okay, product price request body price, and image request body image. The function error first, and product. That's a signature. So when I want to send the product back to my component. Okay.
Wait, where is just product down at the bottom?
So here, products is right here. So this is a callback function. So this function is just that when the record has been successfully created, call this function. If there's error, give me my error. If there's not error, then give me the product. That's just been created. Okay. So I send that newly created record back to my front end. Okay. So when I send it back to the front end, that will show up in the lens. So this is a promise, right? So that's resolved in the back end, it's gonna show up in the promise. So here I will say whatever that's coming back, I'm gonna do a call set state. So then I'll just, you've been familiar with this by now. So I just add it to the back of my concatenate it. So add it to the back of my product array. Okay.
So this will be like an example of creating something, and then once you hit create, it'll like show you what you created.
Right. So before, just front end application, we just create and we just stick it to whatever array we have, right? But right now we have a database, so we have to post to database first, and then when it's successful, it comes back, we put it in our front end. Okay. Let's just try it out. I've already did something here, but I'm just coming it out. Okay, so hello Kitty. Oops. There's a can post a product post. Add product. Let's put in slash here. So, okay, so it shows up here. Just give me my random stuff. It's weird. Should say hello Kitty. Oh, I didn't recompile. Now you need to recompile whenever you make a change to the front end. So this thing, everything inside app folder, if you change anything there, you need to recompile. But
Is there a way to hot reload?
Yeah, you have to set up the hot reloader, which I slack this morning, yesterday, is React Transform. If you set that up, then you don't need to recompile. Since we can set it up, so okay, so it's here.
Cool.
Yep, and next thing I can put on Redux form and then do a full blown I have a product name, I have the image, I have whatever, everything in here. So now you have full stack. You have a server, you have front end, you have database. You can do whatever you want. There's no limit now. Just right now we don't have hot loader set up, so there's some cumbersome task you have to recompile, but you have full stack now in the universal JavaScript. And whatever you want to see, And remember, I went over this optimistic update stuff. So right now, when I post something, it goes back to the backend, and then when the backend is successful, it comes to me, and then I add it here. I can do that optimistic update here too. So I can add it on here, probably grade out, make opacity 30%, and then wait till there's a success response from the backend, and then do a real, and take out the opacity, make it 100%, the optimistic stuff. So yeah, you have total control over your server, your front end. All right. Now, any feature requests?
Well, let's just do delete products.
Sure. How do you wanna go about doing that? Why don't you guide me through it?
Okay.
Span next to each object.
Oh yeah, you can have a span next to each object with a
Okay.
button. That's a good start. Having a thing that does something.
Yeah. now you
Make it
can
a button
press-
instead of a span. People are happy.
Okay.
I'll never be happy.
So demanding.
And what else?
And then we want to attach a function to that.
Okay.
So I'm gonna click,
Okay.
and we want to pass in that index to that particular thing.
Okay. That's a good idea. So, start say enter delete.
Sure.
Okay. So let me
And you have to call that because you're passing an argument.
Okay. And handle delete here.
Pass in that index. And I think you could do a filter on this one. Did you do a filter on this
Filter.
one?
Uh,
Or is it a map?
a filter or a map.
So when do you use filter and when do you use map when you're going over an array?
So if I want to take stuff out, then I use filter.
You use filter. So
Right.
you're saying like everything but this thing.
Yeah.
Where map, you're like, if it's this thing, do something.
Map, I just map over each. So if
Map is just for each, right?
yeah, well, it's like a functional for each.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what do I put in here?
So you want to do a set state.
I don't want to do a set state
You
though,
don't want a set state.
because I have a
Oh, you
database
have-
now.
You have to
Yeah.
go into the back end.
Yeah, I have to go into backend.
Okay, does the back end, so the array lives in the back end then? Or?
I have a database in the backend.
Okay.
Set up an endpoint that allows you to.
Right. Okay. So I'll just do. I assume I have an endpoint. So
So.
say, for example, the endpoint is.
So make the post request that deletes the specific.
Yep.
So the index, the specific product.
Well,
Okay.
can we pass in the product ID and then like find by product ID and then delete?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Something like that.
Oh, that's a good idea. How do I do that?
Yeah, the ID is definitely a better idea, right?
Yeah.
I use the index, right? The I.
Not necessarily.
Well, ID is actually in MongoDB. You have something that's underscore ID. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's
So
the auto increment ID.
yeah, automatic. So you can just pass it in, right?
Yeah.
Wait, what's
So
the difference between the underscore ID and the?
that's automatically assigned in the
In the database.
database. It's indexed and it's incremented, so it's ordered.
Okay.
So I can pass in ID, right? So and have ID. So what do I do here? I have to do a post request, right?
Yep.
So this is just assume I have this route set up.
So you can use Axiom to make a post request.
All right, yeah, that's a good call. So I'm gonna just copy this over.
And that's gonna be delete.
Delete.
And then
And I don't need data,
all
right?
you're doing is passing the ID.
You just need ID.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I need ID.
So underscore, I don't know how you would write the ID, as an underscore ID or
No,
just
just ID.
ID?
It's ID, yeah,
ID is
ID.
it's ID.
That's
Right.
pretty straightforward.
Or you can just use ES6.
Yeah.
Or not? Okay. So, and then what?
And then, so you're gonna have your promise here, and you're gonna set the state. You're gonna do a filter in that one, right? In products down there.
Okay. Do a filter.
This way you can sync the front end with the back end.
Right.
Oh, wait a minute. No, that's actually being handled on the back end now.
Mm-hmm.
So now you just need to pass in
Yeah.
the products.
Okay.
The
Cool.
products from the back end.
So the response, pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay. So assuming that works, we have to go to the back end and write a route for that, right? So what about how
Yeah,
about-
so app.post, parentheses, delete, and your function, your request and response. So now you're gonna create a new product.
No, delete the product here.
Oh yeah, you can do the delete method.
Product
Mhm.
delete.
Or do you create a new, I don't know how it works, well, since it's
Oh.
backend, you don't wanna render an entirely new thing, so.
right?
So, is that a delete method? Is there a delete method for that?
Is that the delete method? I mean, it's gotta be, right? So look it up. The document.
Let's see what kind of arguments it accepts.
Yeah. So remove.
Remove,
Okay. Sure.
remove, and then
So
you have type, instead of type, you have ID.
Yep. Remove.
Based on ID.
So
Underscore
ID.
So that would be request.
Request that body that ID.
ID. Okay. Good. What else? What do I do in here?
Response, you're passing product.
Where
Well, I'm not sure the remove have the products in here. Let's see. What does it give back to me? Remove the callback. Well, I'm pretty sure the remove doesn't give me that. So
Oh,
what can we do?
it doesn't, it just returns an error?
Uh-huh.
So if the error exists,
they query the database to give you all the new.
Okay. Yeah, you can query that. Okay, like that. Yeah, this is a bunch of different ways. You can query it again, but it's gonna take more time. But it's doable. Or you can,
Just respond when it's been true.
I would just,
Yeah.
respond true.
Okay.
If it's true, then you actually remove that ID.
okay, so
From the
respond.
front.
Okay, so say success or something.
Sure.
Okay.
So what's the error being passed in?
If you should make sure if error is not.
Right. So
Okay. So by default, that error will handle whatever
right.
that method
So
produces.
there's a JSON object, so it's easy to parse.
Okay. Cool. So
Just you can just
like that.
JSON.
Yeah, that JSON.
You don't really need to, right?
Well, if you send using JSON or .json, it's probably the same.
Yeah.
So then do we need to do something here? Because right now the response is just a JSON.
Yes,
We do need to-
This dot state
Mm-hmm.
say the products.
This does state what?
To render the products, the current state of products,
Uh-huh. Wait.
but take out the product that is trying to delete.
I think you need to put some logic in response, right?
Yeah. So
Because if response is an error, then you need to say, hey, I couldn't delete from the database or whatever you want to do.
what do we put in here?
So if response is not
Well,
success,
if response not success, it's
Okay, yeah, success.
yeah,
Then we
then
do
do that
success there.
stuff.
Okay.
It's confusing that to me right now.
what do we?
Because the
Well, the response is be a success when it hits, whatever we call it the key in the object that we're sending back, so that way you
Gotcha.
can see that.
Okay, so how do we, so we just need to filter this, right? Yeah.
Is the set the state project.
So,
What are you gonna need to filter? Aren't
You
you?
need to take out
yeah,
the one that you just deleted.
That's right.
Because the
states.
Synced up. Yeah.
so. It's like ID, right? Like that?
But we're not mapping or anything. We're not, I think you need to do this dot state dot products dot filter, right?
Wait, what do you mean? I mean, we're not mapping. Oh yeah, filter, right? You're right. Forget about filter. Jeez. All right.
Else.
Else
I guess
just,
we should set another state, but I guess we don't have to worry about it right now.
Yeah,
If it doesn't respond, then
yeah. Well, we'll worry about it later. So
let's see if that works.
this works. Okay, should work. I need to compile. Okay, work. Oh, yes. Error. What's happening? There's nothing happening. It's weird.
Oh god.
Wait.
This is my nightmare. Oh, there we go.
Wait, this is not it. No, let's see. Nothing's happened. Let's see.
That's fine.
That's fun. But handle delete right here. So why don't I just try the log ID here? Here the post delete. Yeah. This. Just closing that.
The body.
Okay. Okay. Try that. Scenes, okay. So if I did this, yeah, I got
That
ID
looks
here.
good.
Looks good. Why is it not deleted?
Look in the network tab, see what the request looks like.
Excuse me?
Look in the network tab and see if the
Oh.
request is fired.
Okay, here, that work. Yeah. It's firing.
Is it getting your, click on it, getting your response? Response, click on response.
Where's the response? Oh, response right here.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
I guess the rendering part is not happening.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
I'm losing that. So this is not. Oh, I think
We're not
it's
doing
response.
set state.
We're doing set state here.
Yeah.
Oh. What's going on?
I think it's response data.
Yeah. it's-
Yeah.
We have the, it's weirdly named,
That's right.
yeah. Because we named it.
No, that's from Axios. That's how they set it up.
We have the key.
No different than Ajax.
Response that we're passing through name success, and so, yeah, it's just wrong. It's just wrong.
Oops. Well, I'm losing my kidney. I mean, Let me just console log this response.
For success.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh man, I have a reason.
yeah, well,
Just for now.
just now.
Oh, this guy. No more kittens.
Data.
Oh, it's because it's inside the an object like.
Oh, it's not,
Yeah, we have that data success.
Data.success.
We have just the data.success, right?
And log inside there, make sure.
Yeah.
Oh, you're missing a C, success.
Really?
The success true.
Oh, okay.
Ah.
Jeez. All
That's
right.
our response on there.
So here. Wow, sharp eyes, my God. Okay, and first of all, I need some more kittens here. Kittens, come back.
yes, more kittens.
Yeah. All right. It's at the. All right. Good job, everybody. So,
Have some cider.
Mern
For life.
stuff. Yep.
I mean, if you know what you're doing, you build a fully functioning app very quickly.
Extremely quickly, yeah. If you know what you're doing, I mean, it's just Compass, and you have to do like a back end route and then a front end stuff. But yeah.
I can't believe I said that.
You would not recommend Express for large apps.
No, I mean, I totally recommend it because for whatever how big your app is, your backend load is pretty light. You just need to serve the route, serve the database. So you don't need a fully functioning backend. I mean, Express is more than enough. So what were you thinking of? What?
Oh no, not for me. I mean, just like for a large scale app, you still use Express.
Yeah, because for a large scale app, what's large about it is your front end. So you probably have like an app, a parent of like 1,000 components. That's what you call a large scale app. But your back end is still pretty light. You just handle the route, handle response and request. So Express is fully capable. So any more feature requests? Anything you want to see with Mern? I mean, after today, you're not going to see Mern again. I mean, we're going to move on to React Native next week.
Go!
Did you do replace?
Replace? What do you mean replace?
One product with another?
Replace. Okay.
How difficult is it to roll
Roll.
like authentication into
Oh, I mean, there's a bunch of ways. I mean, what were you thinking of? Because I use Passport. So, what? You?
Hence feature requests. I was expecting that one.
Hunter never requests anything.
US passport.
Supposing.
No, it's Passport.js. Passport.js. This
Oh,
Let's do some authentication.
that's not what I.
yeah, just authentication.
That's so cool.
We can, yeah, you package the Twitter authenticate, Google authenticate. Well,
Although when you can just throw things in and they will.
yeah. So, well, it's not trivial, so probably can do it here. But it's not like a 5 lines of code. I mean, you have
That's
to.
what I wanted.
You know what? That's your class project.
Yeah.
Like not just having and giving each other projects.
It's
So wait, what is this?
Authentication, bro.
that's how I use it.
That's what I was asking for before.
Okay. Yeah.
So you would do it through this authentication?
Well, that's not the only way, but this one package everything together. You can
Nice.
use Google, Facebook, Twitter, all there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It handles all that. It's
So we want the losers that don't have any like
it's
social media.
yeah, it's non-trivial to configure it out, but it works. So I accept authentication. Any feature request?
Shut down.
Oh,
Isn't it just your email? They can authenticate.
Google Plus is shut down.
no, it's not.
No, I mean like they're not doing support anymore.
But when you authenticate with Google, don't you just authenticate with your email?
Alright, so, okay.
Bam.
Anything else you want to see? This is MERN stack. I mean, it's pretty powerful. It's extremely powerful. I mean,
What's the coolest thing you can think of that you can do with this?
Build a site.
build a Facebook.
Okay, so for
Build a Facebook.
What?
Jason, I'm on Facebook.
what's
I'll
another, what's another open like endpoint that we can hit that's just wide open without all that you can add have a universal. So
I see a pattern with you.
I have.
What?
No, I'm saying
What
for instance,
can
you
we
can hit like
add?
all of Reddit on a JSON endpoint, so why don't you hit something there and add like the top post from a subreddit?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, you hit a,
So you want to add something in Reddit to here?
yeah, just grab the top post from.
So what's the endpoint? Can you find me an endpoint?
JSON, whatever.
So like a Reddit. Yeah, I think you can just something like no. What the hell is-
I'll slap something.
Like
Worst.
JSON, right? That JSON. I remember it's like this.
Yeah.
Then I need to parse it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
So what do
So
you
saying, well, just have a button that adds the top post to the app.
oh, okay.
Oh, that should be simple.
How do I add? Where's the top post?
Add, grab the-
I actually was thinking that how we can do like push style, like when something happens in the
Oh, like
server.
streaming, like a meeting.
Oh, you wanna
Yeah, like you know, live updates on a score or something like that.
You mean push?
like,
Push from this,
just
from the
one
app,
piece
from
of
the
it, you're not refreshing the entire page or even a small part, you just
So you use
refresh
like
it
socket
just one.
IO.
Yeah.
It's like a permanent connection open, like
Right.
updating score. You don't refresh the page, the score in your score app just
Okay.
automatically updates.
Yeah, you need something like WebSocket.io or like Firebase. Yeah, Firebase is just like that.
Oh, so when the data updates in the database, automatically.
Yeah, so Firebase when it updates, it automatically push the
I
change to
think this
you.
is where the limitation of React comes in, as far as being a view only, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
This is
you
just
know,
a service.
Well, it's
Yeah.
only one layer, it's
Yeah.
only one part of the whole application.
Okay, I'm wrong.
No, you're actually right, it is the limitation, it is.
So that's
Yeah,
I'm actually right.
I'm interested in that. Is there anything that's streaming that's wide
Yeah, it's
open
just
that we can
UI.
hook onto
It's just for UI.
without like, I mean, 'cause you could.
What does
You
Firebase
could
do?
get the Twitter.
Streaming?
You could get the Twitter
Firebase.
module and hook into a Firehose and stream just that way.
Yeah, like update, like constantly updating, you know, your stream, for example.
Well, that's probably not have anything to do with Express because you will just set up
It's
your
not- it's
yeah.
nothing to do with Express.
Yeah, so you just set it up in your Firebase or whatever that thing, and then you just receive changes from there in your client side.
So
So
what
right.
page requests are you looking for?
Well,
No, no.
just like well, I can add a Reddit post, but it's pretty much like the same that I load from my the products, right? The JSON. But well, pretty much it's just the CRUD action. Pretty much we've done some of it. Let me just think of something I want to add. Okay, one caveat is that when you render from the backend, so remember we have this render to string, and then we serve that to our server. You want to be careful that whenever if you have something in your code that, for example, if I'm calling say constant variable is calling something in the global variable, then this is gonna break on the server because when I'm rendering to string and serving this from a server, my server doesn't have a window.
Yeah.
So that's very obvious, but when you do universal or JavaScript, this is gonna show up a lot. So just be careful. You wanna do a conditional, say type of window is say like undefined, then it's not. Then this is no something like that. So you want to just be careful with that. So that's one thing, and also some libraries doesn't work on the server. So some library they may have Windows in their code, so they probably do not work. And you do the same thing. You do a conditional before you call that library. And what else? That's probably it. Okay, so, and you were asking the Firebase, right? I mean, you didn't, you weren't there when we were doing the chat app, but Firebase is a cloud database that will push real-time changes to you. So you just hook it up.
Is this free, by the way? I should check it.
Yeah, this is free. So whenever,
How do they make money?
Well, they're just onboarding a lot of people, they'll start charging.
No, they have like different.
Oh, they do have a price.
I was looking at.
yeah.
Cool.
So when you connect it to the database, when you push some record to the database, all the connected devices will receive that update in real time.
So you could use it for prototyping, but as soon as you want to be a serious app, that's when the pricing goes.
That's fine, that's fair.
Yeah.
Even like the notifications thing, right? Like whenever somebody does something, it notifies you, like a notification icon at the top
You're talking about mobile?
or anything.
Uh,
I mean, like an app in a desktop or a mobile.
So this is just pushing stuff to your front end, and if your front end is set up to pop up a bubble, then that's definitely true. But if you're talking about a notification that's pushed to your phone, that's different service.
Yeah, that's not the native phone app
Right.
thing, but like, if you go to facebook.com and see the notification icon,
Right,
whenever somebody
right.
sends you a message, that thing
Right.
automatically pops up at the top, like
Well,
while you're browsing and checking
Right.
and stuff.
Right, your app is gonna receive that update, but when you receive update and you wanna see that notification,
question.
that's how you set it up in the front end. Yeah.
So it is possible.
It is
So I don't
possible.
know what 300 gigabytes of storage means.
300
But do you
gigabytes.
think they make the entire thing with React? Because I think
On
predominantly,
Facebook?
yeah.
Instagram is React, right?
Yes, it is. It's
I
React
think
Native.
Facebook is part React and part like,
Facebook, the React side was actually for their advertiser tools.
Right.
So their consoles
Are you-
on the side that the users don't see. But I don't know if the user side is actually React. But
You talk about React Native, right?
no,
Messenger.
regular
Messenger.
Facebook's developed React
Uh-huh.
for the advertiser tools because there's like an advertiser's console
That's a big
Right.
where they could see data and stuff like that.
Right. They have mobile versions in React Native too.
Yeah, and Instagram is too.
So
React everywhere.
so basically that concludes MERN. So going forward, so the plan is that next two class next week we're gonna cover React Native, and then after that there's not gonna be full length lecture. You're gonna start working on your project.
Can we build all?
Yeah.
Can we build all?
Oh, right here.
Export.
No, right here.
Okay, I'll try.
Are we doing testing at some point?
I don't know if they were down there.
What?
Testing.
Yeah, we're gonna do testing. Yeah.
Cases.
So after React Native, we don't have full length lectures, but we'll have small, like half class lecture that covers animation, testing, and performance.
And then the other half we just work on.
Then the rest you work on your projects. Yes. Class projects.
See,
Yes.
then you can work on that.
And you can work on your
I'm
authentication.
actually interested in the ops too, so I want to.
Well, then why are you making me do it?
I can watch it and supervise you.
There you go.
I'm torn between whether working on the form, complex form, building it from scratch, or doing the side project that I'm working on with my friends.
Definitely do side project.
Side project?
And use MERN. Use MERN.
For sure.
No, I mean, we're using Meteor, but
Okay.
right now we're using Blaze as the front end,
Okay.
converting that over into React.
Okay.
You have
So,
great pronunciations.
Turn their side
Sides are
project.
French.
yeah. Side project?
Like Target?
Because my boss is leaving anyway, and he doesn't care what I do, like at this point. It's already paid for, the class is already paid for, so.
Cool.
So, deploying apps, you talk about Amazon Web Services, is that kind of like the best place to deploy apps for React?
So if you're not doing merge stack, you're just doing front end that we just did before. You know that when you just compile and then just throw your compile files to Amazon Web Service,
Cool.
then that's how you deploy a client side app. And for this merge, you want to deploy to Heroku or something, or DigitalOcean, something like that.
Cool.
DigitalOcean, $5 a month.
Yeah.
It's $5 too much.
Wow.
So if you have, like, for example,
agree.
this server on
I mean, you can find
and Rails or
cheaper
something like that.
alternatives.
It will be like just the client side
I
deployed
don't
in
even
Amazon
use it, I'm
and
like,
have
why
like
am I-
Yeah,
Oh,
over top,
yeah,
top, back and forth, yes.
with API.
Yeah, with
I
API,
was,
yeah.
I was like, speaking of being cheap, is there any way to get?
But that won't be
photos,
universal.
Like,
That won't be universal, right? Yeah.
Yeah, hook us up.
Yeah, I would get fired for that. Wait, like under the,
You won't get fired.
I don't know.
I'm not gonna
You
fire
don't
you.
get discounts on your own product?
I have no idea. I could care less. But if you guys
How long
want,
have you worked there?
I get discounts?
He's rich, he wants.
9 months.
It's a challenge.
But like I never use photos. I'm like anti-photo when I build apps. Like,
I am too, but like
SVGs.
I've had freelance projects where I have to use
Yeah.
Photoshop.
okay, what am I doing? I'm sorry, guys.
When they care about licensing, then
So,
I could figure something out.
I was like,
I should have announced that in front of the entire class. Now everybody's like, "Ugh," it's like when you pass out gum and everybody's like, can I have a piece? Can I have a piece?
So, can we have a piece?
Do you have
yeah, bro.
I don't have any gum.
See me after class.
Well, that was a little more than I wanted to hear.
I'm joking.
You don't have gum? Wow, way to be a tease.
What a dick.
so so this is a repo I've been working on. Feel free, it's on branch server
Oh,
side.
cool. You pushed it up?
Yep. So yeah, feel free to play around, and then
Nice.
definitely use it. I mean, it's
How do you like the standard React hot loading tool? Do you use it?
the React transform. Yeah, it's definitely you have to use it. Otherwise, you're just gonna compile every time you make change. Yeah. So just set up React transform. Let's see.
Yes.
Again, it's made by Dan Abramoff.
Mhm.
Yeah, it requires some setting up, but once you set it up, no, this is not it. React transform. Right, so this is it.
That guy's married, looks like he's 16.
Yeah, so when you set this up, whatever you do, you're gonna hard reload the
He's
changes.
like a kid.
So as soon as you make a change, it will re-render?
Right, it will just push out your,
Yeah, dude.
pull out your module and then push the new one back in. So it's gonna hard reload.
So we'll do it live.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you don't even need a web dev server for this.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
So this is better than that
Yeah,
web
this-
dev server.
yeah, this is better.
Oh, can we start using this?
Yeah, I can definitely start using this.
Nice. I have to run a server.
Very well.
That's what you were asking me before, right? You want to be on the client side?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't like server side?
No,
He's
it's just
anti-server.
like sometimes it drains my battery.
Oh.
Wow.
And then wait.
As an applet?
Oh, so you're saying you don't even have to run the server to do all your front-end components?
Because
stuff?
most of the time, we don't, like for me, at least for now, we're not gonna use any back-end stuff. Mostly what we will be doing at work will be front-end components. So trying to make sure that I learn as much as possible to get that part.
All right, so if any questions or you want to start working on a project, feel free.
I'm I'm gonna start my sleep.
I'm gonna take advantage of this early class to get home at a time before 11
Okay.
o'clock.
Sure, that works too.
Where do you live?
Babylon?
You're in Baldwin, New York.
No, I'm not in Baldwin, I'm not.
I thought you were in Baldwin.
See,
No.
told you that one. We have a conversation
Something
on
with
Subway.
Oh, really?
They did.
Which one?
We talked about it. How do you feel?
It's on the same line though.
Any name of a town
I know.
that's biblical, you know it's far away.
Yeah. By the rivers of Babylon.
Okay.
That's your TV flavor.
Yeah. Yeah. It's about an hour and 10 minutes.
That's not bad.
It's not terrible, but for some reason, it always
Dude,
feels.
you got the best train, man. If you compare my subway ride to your LIRR.
Would you like to?
Yeah,
Trade
I still would want
prices?
to trade.
Yeah,
Actually,
sure,
no,
I
it's
got it,
not.
I got it.
You're paying.
Yep.
I'm paying 3
Yeah.
times more than you.
Alerts to
If not more, $338
Come on.
a month. And people have to have cars out there, and people